Donald Trump wants to cut $1.5 trillion from the budget to fund the Department of War. I want to talk about where he intends to cut those dollars from. Grab your snacks, your coffee. This is going to be a long one. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I want to give a huge shout out to my old faithfuls. Thank you so much for all of the support that you have given me over the years. I also want to give a huge shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for that extra support that you provide to me and this channel every month. I want to give a huge shout out to the newbies. Thank you so much and welcome to the channel. If you've come across this video and are not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'd be happy to have you. Now, a few weeks ago, we heard Donald Trump say this.
Don't send any money for daycare because the United States can't take care of daycare. But we're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it too. They should pay. They have to raise their taxes, but they should pay for it. And we could lower our taxes a little bit to them to make up. But it's not possible for us to take care of daycare, Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things. They can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal. We have to take care of one thing: military protection. We have to guard the country.
You heard it directly from him through his own lips. Can't pay for daycare. Can't pay for Medicare. You can't pay for Medicaid. You can't pay for those things. They only want to pay for protection of the country, military protection, the Department of War. And so in order to do that, they've got to cut money from all of the different programs that the United States has had installed for decades. Decades. All of the different programs that help to enrich our lives, he wants to cut all of those different programs. And because of all of these different programs that Donald Trump is proposing to cut from the budget, Russ Vought had to go before Congress to testify. Here's what one congressman had to say to Russ Vought. Y'all remember Russ Vought? Russ Vought, I keep calling him Vought. Russ Vought is from the Heritage Foundation. When DOGE was first put into action, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy was over DOGE, right? And then Vivek Ramaswamy left, and then it was Elon Musk over DOGE. And then when Elon Musk left, Russ Vought took over DOGE. Russ Vought from the Heritage Foundation. This is how one of the congressmen questioned Russ Vought.
I could go on and listing the moral crimes in this budget, but I only have 5 minutes. Across the board, it slashes the parts of government that help working people and replaces them with more war and more ICE abuses. Your budget cuts breastfeeding moms' fruit and vegetable benefit from $54 to $13 per month. Is that correct?
We fully fund the WIC program.
No, you don't. Here it is right here on page 164 in the second column of your budget. I'm talking right now. If you want to talk, you can run for Congress. More than half of those housed in Kentucky right now are families with kids. This budget zeroes out that program, doesn't it?
And what's interesting about
Yes, it does. It's right here on table 1-3. It zeroes it out in your budget. You admitted earlier to zeroing out that program, but you said it was because of fraud. You said just a second ago, I don't assume the American people engage in tax fraud, but I guess you assume every senior in Kentucky is engaging fraud because they want to have a cool home in the summer and a warm home in the winter. This budget sees the hungry, it sees the homeless, it sees the vulnerable, and it turns away.
Now, I was lucky enough to be strolling over there through those Twitter streets, and I got an entire list of what Donald Trump and Russ Vought will be cutting from the budget. The list is long, but we will be going through each and every program, every dollar that Donald Trump and Russ Vought is planning to cut from the budget so that they can get that $1.5 trillion to fund the Department of War. So because Donald Trump and Russ Vought want to cut $1.5 trillion from the budget, there's lots of conversations taking place out there on social media. And I was over there on Twitter and came across this post right here where it lists where Donald Trump and Russ Vought plan to cut money from in order to fund their $1.5 trillion military budget. Grab your snacks, cup of coffee, a margarita, something, because we are going to go through each proposed cut. This is from the headquarters page. I follow them on Twitter and I follow them on Threads. And they are reporting that this is where Trump is seeking to pay for his new $1.5 trillion military budget. And they plan on paying for that budget by cutting the following. They plan to cut $510 million for grants for farmers and agricultural research. They plan to cut $82 million from loans for rural small businesses. And this cut will fully eliminate those programs. $61 million will be cut that support farmers and food markets. This cut will also fully eliminate those programs. $240 million will be cut for school meals and food education for children living abroad. This will fully eliminate those programs. $659 million will be cut for community building grants. $47 million will be cut that support minority-owned businesses. And because of this cut, those programs will be fully eliminated. $449 million will be cut from economic development grants for communities. $1.6 billion will be cut from weather forecasting, fisheries, and coastal protection programs. $993 million will be cut from scientific research and technology standards. $150 million will be cut for support for American exports and trade. $2.2 billion will be cut from broadband and internet access programs. $8.5 billion will be cut that fund public schools. $1.5 billion will be cut that fund vocational training and adult education programs, which would fully eliminate these programs. $2.7 billion will be cut for college access and higher education support. $15.2 billion will be cut for roads, bridges, and infrastructure projects. $1.1 billion will be cut for home energy efficiency and clean energy programs, which would fully eliminate these programs. $1.1 billion will be cut for home energy efficiency and clean energy programs, which would fully eliminate those programs. $1.1 billion will be cut from scientific research funding. $386 billion will be cut from environmental cleanup programs. $150 million will be cut from cutting edge clean energy research. $4 billion will be cut. This $4 billion helps to pay for home heating and cooling bills for low-income families, and this cut will fully eliminate this program. $768 million will be cut for refugee resettlement assistance. $819 million will be cut from care and shelter for migrant children. $775 million will be cut from local anti-poverty programs, which will fully eliminate those programs. $5 billion will be cut from public health programs, mental health services, and disease prevention. $5 billion will be cut from medical research. $129 million will be cut from healthcare quality and safety research. $356 million will be cut from emergency preparedness and disaster response. $1.3 billion will be cut from FEMA community disaster preparedness grants. $707 million will be cut from cybersecurity protection for critical infrastructure. $52 million will be cut from airport and transportation security. $40 million will be cut from protection against chemical and biological weapons threats programs. $53 million will be cut from funding for homeland security operations. $3.3 billion will be cut from community development block grants for local neighborhoods, which would fully eliminate these types of programs. $1.3 billion will be cut from affordable housing construction grants, which would fully eliminate these programs. $393 million will be cut from programs to reduce homelessness. $529 million will be cut from housing assistance for people living with HIV and AIDS, which will fully eliminate those programs. $489 million will be cut from housing services for Native American communities. $50 million will be cut from grants to help communities build more housing, which would fully eliminate these programs. $60 million will be cut from enforcement of fair housing and anti-discrimination laws. $58 million will be cut from home buyer and renter counseling services, which would fully eliminate these programs. $45 million will be cut for renewable energy development programs, which would also fully eliminate those programs. $1.7 billion will be cut for grants for local law enforcement and public safety. $20 million will be cut for civil rights mediation and legal access programs, which would fully eliminate these programs. $1.6 billion will be cut for job training for at-risk youth, which would fully eliminate these programs. $395 million will be cut for job programs for low-income seniors, which would fully eliminate these programs. $234 million will be cut for worker safety and labor protection. $101 million will be cut for enforcement of equal pay and workplace anti-discrimination laws. $46 million will be cut for programs to combat child labor and forced labor abroad. $2 billion will be cut from international humanitarian aid. $1.2 billion will be cut for food aid for hungry families abroad, which would fully eliminate this program. $4.3 billion will be cut for global health and disease prevention programs. $2.7 billion will be cut for funding for the United Nations and international partnerships. $642 million will be cut in international economic and treasury programs. $315 million will be cut for democracy and anti-corruption programs abroad. $486 million would be cut for grants for public transit projects. $4.2 billion will be cut for electrical vehicle charging infrastructure. $486 million will be cut for grants for public transit projects. $315 million will be cut for democracy and anti-corruption programs abroad. $372 million will be cut in airline service for rural and small communities. $145 million will be cut for grants for sustainable and equitable infrastructure. $204 million will be cut for loans and investment for underserved communities. $1.4 billion will be cut in IRS taxpayer services and enforcement. $100 million will be cut from air pollution monitoring and reduction programs, which would fully eliminate those programs. $1 billion will be cut from EPA grants to states for environmental protection. $2.5 billion will be cut from clean drinking water and wastewater infrastructure funds. $90 million will be cut from grants to reduce diesel pollution, which would fully eliminate these programs. $3.4 billion will be cut from NASA space and earth science research. $297 million will be cut from NASA technology innovation programs. And $1.1 billion will be cut from International Space Station operations. $143 million will be cut from STEM education programs. $309 million will be cut from small business development and entrepreneurship programs. And $170 million will be cut from small businesses administration operations. And last but not least, $158 million will be cut from loans for small businesses. And this is the long list that they intended to cut. That was what DOGE was tasked to do. But Elon Musk had other plans for DOGE, like stealing all of our information. Elon Musk didn't quite get to this. So Russ Vought, who has now taken charge of DOGE, the Office of Management and Budget, he is over that now. And so this is what they intend to cut in order to make up that $1.5 trillion that they want to send to military or the Department of War. I remember during the campaign season in 2024, I begged people when they first started talking about cutting $2 trillion from the budget. I begged people to pay attention, because where did you think they were going to cut those dollars from? Now, if you ask me, there's a lot on that list where I'm like, why are we paying for that? Why are we paying for that? But there is a lot on that list that we should be paying for to improve the quality of life for Americans in this country. Yeah. Becca Ballot has some questions for Russ Vought that I want you to listen to.
$7.6 billion in clean energy grants based on whether the recipient lived in a blue state. Yes or no?
I don't recall what that judge said, but we have not made the determinations based on
In
whether
fact,
the state is...
in fact, Mr. Vought, on January 12th, 2026, U.S. Judge Amit Mehta said, quote, defendants, meaning you, Mr. Vought, freely admit that they made grant determination decisions primarily, if not exclusively, based on whether the awardee resided in a state whose citizens voted for President Trump in 2024. Mr. Vought, yes or no? Federal judges said OMB's freeze of $10 billion in child care and family assistance funding, quote, appeared designed to punish communities that the administration agreed with. Yes or no? Was that something that federal judges said about you and your leadership?
I think the judge's characterization is getting at the degree to which we are focused on states that we think are mismanaged.
Okay, that is not in fact the case. In fact, U.S. District Judge Trina Thompson found the administration broke the law and froze funds as a politically motivated move disguised as fraud prevention. So your characterization actually is false. Other courts have said that withholding congressionally approved funding is, quote, vindictive and unlawful. Courts have found that freezing funds create, quote, irreparable harm against the American people. And the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, the watchdog agency that investigates how federal agencies spend taxpayer dollars, has reported that you broke the law multiple times. And they have said that you have refused to spend money that was dedicated for Americans. The Constitution gives Congress the power to spend money and not the president. Mr. Vote, your actions clearly show that you want to cut federal funds from anyone who didn't vote for Donald Trump. Are you trying to get revenge on states that did not vote for your boss?
No, of course not. What's interesting about the question is that Joe Biden withheld.
Oh, for goodness sakes, can we please bring it back to my question? It was a yes or no question. Are you trying to get revenge against blue states because they did not support the president? Courts have said that, in fact, you did do that. That, in fact, you are being vindictive. In fact, you are punishing because of political persuasions. It's not members of Congress who suffer when you do an end run around Congress. That's not what I'm angry about. It's not about you taking the power away from us. It's that it's their money. It's their power. Of the people, by the people, and for the people. The House is closest to the people. So when you do an end run around Congress, you're taking Americans.
They're going to cut programs that help the elderly. They're going to cut programs that help children. They're going to cut programs that help low-income Americans. They are going to cut programs that help disabled Americans. They are going to cut programs for the marginalized. They are going to cut programs that keep us safe and secure, whether it's at the airport or whether it's by tracking toxic chemicals. They're going to cut all of these programs. They're going to cut programs that help the elderly get food and keep lights on. They're going to cut all of these programs that keep you healthy mentally and physically. They're going to cut all of these programs so that they can fund war. And while they're cutting all of these programs, this is what Donald Trump is focused on doing.
President Trump and the Department of Interior will submit plans for the United States Triumphal Arch, which will be an architectural masterpiece to celebrate our history right here in Washington, D.C. This monumental arch will beam at 250 feet tall in honor of 250 years and stand on ground that is currently empty green space in Memorial Circle on Columbia Island. The United States Triumphal Arch will be outfitted with beautiful artwork and depictions celebrating the success of the American people over our 250-year history and the enduring triumph of the American spirit. Great nations build beautiful structures that cultivate national pride and love of country, and this triumphal arch should be a project that all Americans of all political persuasions can support because it's a monument for every American to celebrate 250 years of our nation's proud history. And again, the plans for this will be submitted tomorrow.
I don't mind that my tax dollars go to help anybody in this country acquire health care. I don't care that my tax dollars go to help anybody in this country who is in desperate need to keep their lights turned on, to keep their water going, to keep food on their table, to keep a roof over their head. I don't mind that my tax dollars goes to that. I don't mind that my tax dollars go to medical research scientific research. I don't mind that my tax dollars go to making sure that our roads, our bridges are safe. I don't mind that my dollars go to make sure that we are safe in this country in every aspect imaginable. I do mind that my tax dollars would go to rebuilding the West Wing of the White House. I do mind that my tax dollar is going to some dumbass arc. I do mind that my tax dollars go to fund Donald Trump and his weekend golf trips. I do mind that my tax dollars go to him redesigning the little garden, the rose garden, and making it into a restaurant for the elites. I do mind that my tax dollars go to that. I do mind that my tax dollars went to this. I do mind that my tax dollars went to Pete Hegseth buying crab and steak and lobster and plants and expensive musical equipment and a whole $90 billion worth of all of this. I do mind that my tax dollars went to that. Anywho, that's all I got for this video. Before I head out, I want to give a huge shout out to Alfonso W. and Kimberly G. Thank you for the donation that you sent over to the Cash App. I really appreciate it. Listen, if you made it this far in this video, thank you for watching the entire video. If you are not subscribed to the channel, again, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'd be happy to have you. All right, y'all. That's all I got. I'll see y'all in the next one.